She thought she knew the man she married. For 12 years, he was her partner, her home, her everything. But one day he vanished, leaving behind nothing but questions. What she discovered next wasn't just a betrayal. It was a truth that shattered her world. This is not just a story, it's a journey through love, loss, and the ultimate transformation. It started on a Thursday morning, the kind that feels too quiet, too still, like the world is holding its breath. Dana always got up before the sun. She was a nurse used to the dark hours before the city woke up. But that morning something felt wrong. She couldn't explain it. Her husband, Jeff, wasn't in bed. That wasn't entirely unusual, he sometimes went jogging early. But his sneakers were still at the door. His phone too. And his wallet. The coffee pot hadn't been touched. Jeff never skipped coffee. She stood in the hallway, still in her bathrobe, heart starting to drum louder than the silence around her. Her instinct wasn't panic. It was confusion. She wasn't the anxious type. Jeff was solid. Predictable. A little boring, maybe. But boring in the kind of way that made you feel safe. They'd been married 12 years. Met at a fundraiser gala where Dana had been dragged by her coworker. Jeff had been charming, attentive, a little shy. An accountant from a neighboring town, he'd lived a quiet life. No drama. No family baggage. Just the two of them slowly building a life together. Vacations in Vermont, backyard barbecues, late-night TV marathons. Nothing ever hinted at anything strange. That morning, when Dana tried calling him, the line went straight to voicemail. Again. And again. By 11 a.m., she was calling the police, not to report him missing, she said, just to check if there had been an accident. Something on the news. But there was nothing. By 6 p.m., he was officially a missing person. Her friends gathered around her, like good people do. They brought food, kept her company, helped organize Jeff's belongings in case detectives needed clues. Dana tried to stay calm. But by day 3, when she found a locked drawer in Jeff's home office and couldn't find the key, her breath caught. She opened it with a screwdriver. Inside were documents she didn't recognize. A second phone. A stack of Polaroid pictures of someone who looked like Jeff but wasn't Jeff. The person in the photos was dressed as a woman. Not in a costume, not for a party. These were intimate, personal photos. In one, the person smiled into the mirror in a pale blue dress. In another, they posed with confidence, wearing a name tag, Jennifer. Jennifer. Dana couldn't breathe. Her knees buckled. There was handwriting on one envelope. It simply read, Rent, Jennifer's place. The address was in a town she'd never heard of. 3 hours away. Dana sat on the floor, trembling, holding that photo, that name tag, that bill. Her world felt like it was cracking apart, like the life she knew was being pulled out from under her. But she didn't cry. She drove. 3 hours later, she was parked outside a small townhouse in a sleepy neighborhood. Porch lights flickered. Crickets chirped. She sat there for 20 minutes before she worked up the nerve to knock. When the door opened, it wasn't Jeff who answered. It was a woman. Elegant. Mid-40s. Blonde bob. Dressed in a silk robe. She had mascara on and the faint smell of lavender perfume. Can I help you? The woman asked, her tone polite but distant. Dana hesitated. I'm looking for someone. His name is Jeff. Jeff Merton. He might be living here. Or someone who knows him might be. The woman's face changed instantly. Her smile dropped. She took a step back. I think you should leave. Dana pressed forward, her voice rising. Please. I'm his wife. He disappeared 4 days ago. And I found this address. And I need answers. The woman stood silent. Then, slowly, she opened the door wider and said something Dana never expected to hear. There's no Jeff here. Only Jennifer. I am Jennifer. And in that second, Dana saw it. Under the wig. Under the mascara. The jawline. The eyes. The slight curve of the lips when nervous. It was Jeff. Dressed as a woman. Speaking with softness. Wearing the identity of someone completely different. Dana felt the world spin. The porch under her feet seemed to vanish. I can explain, Jennifer said, Jeff said quietly, cautiously. But Dana couldn't hear. Her ears were roaring. Her eyes stung. She stepped back, mouth dry, heart ripping open. You lied to me, she whispered. Jennifer reached for her, but Dana flinched. I didn't lie. Not at first. I didn't even know who I was. Don't say that. You left me. You didn't even say goodbye. I couldn't, Jennifer said, voice breaking. I was living 2 lives. One of them was slowly killing me. Dana staggered back to her car. Drove. She didn't remember how long or what direction. Just drove into the night. She didn't go home that night. Dana drove until her gas tank screamed empty, pulled over at a cheap motel on the outskirts of nowhere, and collapsed into a bed that wasn't hers. The sheets smelled like bleach and cigarettes. Her hands were still trembling. She stared at the ceiling, the white stucco blurring from tears that refused to fall. Not yet. Every time she blinked, she saw Jennifer's face. No Jeff's face, or whatever name meant anything anymore. Was it all fake? 12 years. Every anniversary, every fight and every forgiveness. The night she miscarried and Jeff held her for hours. The Christmases. The ordinary Tuesdays. Who had she been married to? At 4:12 a.m., she finally cried. Not small tears. Not polite, movie-like sobs. She howled into the pillow. Screamed. Tore at the motel bedspread like she could unravel the life that had just been exposed as a lie. And when she was done, when her voice gave out, there was nothing left but silence and a terrifying sense of emptiness. She didn't tell anyone. Not yet. How could she? Who would believe it? By sunrise, she was driving again. Not home, but to the town. The one Jennifer lived in. The address on the envelope. She needed to see it again. Not Jennifer, but the life. What did this second world look like? What kind of place lets your husband disappear into a new identity and no one says a word? She parked across from the house and waited. The town was still sleepy. A coffee shop opened nearby. Parents walked kids to school. Normal people. Dana felt like a ghost sitting there, watching the world go by as if her life hadn't just cracked in two. Then she saw her. Jennifer. No wig this time. Shoulder-length brown hair. Simple blouse. Jeans. Flats. A handbag slung over the shoulder with practiced ease. She looked natural. At ease. Not like a man in costume. Not like Jeff pretending. She looked like someone who had always been this way. Dana followed her. She wasn't proud of it. But she needed to know. Jennifer walked 3 blocks and entered a bookstore cafe. Dana waited 10 minutes, then went in. Sat 2 tables away. Watched. Jennifer greeted the staff by name. Laughed. Ordered a latte with almond milk. Tipped in cash. She looked like someone who belonged. And then Jennifer kissed someone. A woman. Not just a peck. A soft, lingering kiss as if they had done this 100 times. As if they were lovers. The woman was tall, red-haired, wearing scrubs. She smiled, whispered something, then left. Jennifer sat down and opened a book. Dana couldn't breathe. She got up and left before she threw up. Back in her car, Dana's fingers were cold around the steering wheel. The air was too hot, her skin too tight. Everything felt backwards. Her husband wasn't just pretending. He wasn't just dressing up. He had a second life, a second home, a second relationship. He had left her. For her. But why? Why not divorce her first? Why run away? Why lie? Back at home, Dana showered for an hour, scrubbing her skin like betrayal might come off in the steam. She washed the sheets. She vacuumed. She did everything except think. But by nightfall, the ache in her chest had grown claws. She called him. It rang. And then, hello. It wasn't Jennifer's voice. It was Jeff's. Tired. Soft. Guarded. Dana swallowed. You lied to me. Silence. I know, Jeff said. I didn't want to, but I did. And I'm sorry. Sorry. Dana laughed bitterly. You disappeared. You let me think you were dead. And you, her voice cracked. You kissed someone else. In public. Like none of this meant anything. It meant everything, Jeff said. That's why I had to go. I couldn't live in both worlds anymore. I was breaking, Dana. You broke me. I know. Who is she? Jeff sighed. Her name is Marie. She's a nurse. We met at a support group. A support group? Dana repeated. For what? Men who lie to their wives. Jeff paused. For transgender adults. People who waited their whole lives to be who they are. Dana felt like her lungs had stopped working. I didn't set out to lie, Jeff said quietly. I didn't even have the words for what I was feeling back then. I tried to be who the world said I should be. I tried to be your husband. And I loved you. I still. Don't, Dana snapped. Don't say that. There was a long pause. Then Jeff said, do you want to talk? In person. I'll come to you. Or meet somewhere. Dana's heart was screaming no. But her mouth said, tomorrow. Noon. The diner on Route 6. Okay, Jeff said. Thank you. Dana hung up. And then she sat in the dark and cried again. Not just because she had lost something, but because part of her still missed him. Still loved him. But who was him anymore? The next day she was early. She sat in the diner booth clutching a coffee she didn't drink, watching the door like it was going to betray her. And then Jennifer walked in. Not Jeff. Jennifer. Blouse. Jeans. Small purse. No wig. Light makeup. Confident. Quiet. And terrified. She sat opposite Dana and didn't speak at first. Just looked at her, as if waiting for permission to exist. Dana broke the silence. Tell me everything. And Jennifer did. She talked for hours. About how she always knew something didn't fit. About hiding in closets, both literal and metaphorical. About binding her chest with ace bandages as a teenager, only in reverse. About finding makeup tutorials in private tabs and deleting her browser history every night. About the fear, the shame, the endless pretending. About how loving Dana had been real, but so had the ache of living a lie. Jennifer wiped a tear. I thought I could do both. I thought I could be Jeff for the world and Jennifer for me. But I couldn't. And eventually, Jennifer was the one who felt real. Dana's throat burned. She whispered, did you ever mean to tell me? Yes, Jennifer said. Every day. I wanted to, but I was a coward. And I didn't want you to hate me. Dana looked down at her hands. I don't hate you. Jennifer looked up, hopeful. I don't know what I feel. And that's worse. They sat in silence. Then Dana whispered, was I just a phase? An act? Jennifer shook her head, eyes shining. No. You were the only real thing in my life when I was still pretending. You gave me peace when I couldn't find it anywhere else. Dana's heart cracked a little more. And for the first time in 5 days, she reached across the table and held Jennifer's hand. Not because she forgave her, but because sometimes love and pain live in the same place. Dana didn't sleep much that night. After the diner meeting, she'd gone home, alone, again. The house felt heavier than before, like it knew what had happened. Like it knew the truth now lived somewhere else. Every photo on the wall was a lie, or at least, a fragment. A snapshot of a person who no longer existed. She stood in the living room staring at their wedding photo, Jeff in a tuxedo, herself in lace and hope. What had he been thinking that day? Was he already hiding Jennifer behind the smile? Or had she only come later? Dana turned the frame face down. The next morning, her sister called. Any news about Jeff? She asked gently. Dana hesitated. Yeah, kind of. He's okay. Thank God. Where was he? Dana bit her lip. I'll explain someday. She didn't. Not yet. She wasn't ready for the questions. The judgment. The headlines people would write inside their minds. She couldn't say, my husband is now a woman named Jennifer and lives in a town 3 hours away with a girlfriend who's a nurse. Not yet. Because she didn't even know what that meant for her own story. Was she divorced? Was she betrayed? Was she still a wife? Jennifer texted her 2 days later. Just one sentence. I know you're in pain, but thank you for listening. Dana stared at the screen for hours before replying. I don't forgive you, but I heard you. She didn't expect a reply, but one came. That's enough for now. Dana started seeing a therapist. She didn't plan to. It just happened. She was at work when a nurse friend slid a card into her hand. This guy helped me after my divorce. He doesn't ask dumb questions. Just listens. Like a human should. Dana didn't want help, but she needed someone who didn't flinch. In therapy, she talked about grief. It's like he died, she said one afternoon, her voice raw. But I can't bury him. Because he's still breathing. Laughing. Living. Just not as him. Her therapist nodded. You're mourning the version of a person you knew. That grief is real. But the worst part, she whispered. I don't hate her. Jennifer. I want to. But I don't. Why do you think that is? Dana stared out the window. Because she's him. And I loved him. And I don't know how to separate that. And that was the truth. The sick, confusing, agonizing truth. Jennifer had his hands. His laugh. His memories. She knew Dana's favorite kind of tea. She knew the name of Dana's high school crush. She had once kissed her shoulder at midnight and promised forever. But now she was someone else. Still Jeff. But not Jeff. 3 weeks after their first meeting, Dana agreed to meet again. Neutral ground. A public park. Daytime. No expectations. Jennifer showed up in a denim jacket, soft scarf, no makeup. Casual. Comfortable. But anxious. Dana brought iced coffee. 2 cups. Just like old times. It felt stupid. It felt too normal. But it also felt kind. Jennifer thanked her. They sat on a bench by the duck pond. Silence. Then Dana asked, Are you going to change everything? Jennifer tilted her head. You mean surgery? Dana nodded, eyes forward. Jennifer took a deep breath. Eventually. Maybe. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. I'm not rushing into anything just to make people comfortable. Dana nodded slowly. I'm not one of those people, am I? Jennifer looked at her. No. You're someone I'd want to be comfortable with, not for. That hit Dana in the chest like a whisper and a punch all at once. They started meeting once a week. Not to rekindle. Not to repair. But to understand. Dana asked questions she never thought she'd ask. What it felt like to wear a dress in public for the first time. What pronouns meant to someone who had buried them their whole life. What it was like to look in the mirror and finally see a face that didn't feel like a mask. Jennifer answered everything, even when her voice trembled. And Dana shared too. About the betrayal. The nights she couldn't breathe. The humiliation of not knowing who she'd loved. The deep ache of becoming invisible in someone's story. Jennifer never dismissed her pain. She sat in it with her. And that changed something. Not everything. But something. One evening, Jennifer showed Dana her new apartment. Not the old one. A new one. Smaller. Simpler. No secrets. I wanted you to see where I live, she said. The real me. Dana looked around. No wigs. No locked drawers. Just plants. Art. Books. A framed photo of her and Marie. Dana picked it up. You're happy with her? Jennifer nodded. She sees me. Not as a project. Just as me. Dana placed the photo down. I hope she knows what she has. Jennifer smiled gently. I think she does. But I'll never forget what I had with you. And Dana believed her. Then came the bomb. Jennifer said it casually. Almost like it was nothing. I filed the paperwork. Dana blinked. What paperwork? Jennifer hesitated. The divorce. The word hit like glass in the throat. I thought you'd want that, Jennifer added quickly. I mean, we've been separated. Emotionally. Physically. Legally, Dana held up a hand. I know. I just wasn't ready to hear it today. I'm sorry, Jennifer said softly. Dana looked at her. Really looked. At the woman sitting across from her. At the husband she used to have. At the stranger who wasn't really a stranger at all. Maybe no one's ever really ready, she whispered. When the papers came in the mail, Dana stared at them for a week. She didn't sign them. Not out of vengeance. Not denial. But mourning. She laid them on the coffee table beside a photo of her and Jeff at Niagara Falls. And she lit a candle. Not for death. But for release. And when she finally picked up the pen and signed, she whispered one word under her breath. Goodbye. But it wasn't bitter. It was reverent. Like she was letting go of something sacred. And preparing, just maybe, to welcome something new. 3 months after signing the papers, Dana stood in front of her bathroom mirror and didn't recognize herself, not because her face had changed, but because her story had. She used to define herself by roles: wife, nurse, dependable daughter, woman with a neat lawn and predictable future. Yeah? She wasn't sure what to call herself anymore. But it wasn't emptiness. It was space. And space could be filled. Her therapist had once said, sometimes identity isn't lost, it's revealed. Back then, Dana didn't understand. Now, it was starting to make sense. She was no longer someone's wife. But maybe, just maybe, she was finally becoming her own person. The fallout came gradually. People started asking questions. Her sister was first. So, Jeff, what's going on there? Dana stared into her coffee. He's not Jeff anymore. Her sister frowned. Wait, what? Her name is Jennifer. Silence. Then, are you kidding me? Dana shook her head. No. And please don't say anything cruel. You don't have to understand it. But I need you to respect it. Her sister stared, blinking. I just never would have guessed. Dana gave a sad smile. Neither would I. And that was the start. The rest of her friends came in waves, some curious, some uncomfortable, some whispering behind her back at PTA meetings or book club gatherings. Dana didn't care anymore. She no longer owed anyone a neat narrative. She was tired of packaging her life for other people's approval. One woman said at a baby shower, I heard your husband is now a woman. Like, Falon? Dana looked her dead in the eyes and said, yes. And she's finally happy. The woman choked on her mimosa. Dana smiled. Jennifer texted her sometimes. Nothing deep. Just, saw your favorite soup at the market. Thought of you. Or, the lilies in your garden are blooming again. You were always so good with flowers. Dana would respond with a heart. Sometimes a sentence. They didn't need more. Jennifer didn't push. She honored the distance. And Dana respected that more than words could say. But life kept moving. And one day Dana got a call. Marie, Jennifer's girlfriend, had been in an accident. A bad one. Car crash. ICU. Jennifer was a wreck. Dana drove. She didn't question why. She just went. At the hospital, she found Jennifer pacing the hallway like a ghost in soft denim. She looked up and saw Dana and broke down crying. Dana caught her. Held her. Not as a wife. Not as a lover. But as someone who still, in some inexplicable way, belonged to her. I didn't know who else to call, Jennifer sobbed. You called the right person, Dana said, and she meant it. Marie survived. Barely. Months of recovery lay ahead. Jennifer stayed by her side. But that night in the waiting room, those hours of silence, vending machine coffee, and raw fear rekindled something Dana didn't expect. Not romantic. Not sexual. But human. She remembered who Jennifer was before she became Jennifer. The person who held her when her father died. Who danced with her in the kitchen to Stevie Nicks. Who cried during Pixar movies and always remembered to put extra ice in her lemonade. That person hadn't disappeared. She had transformed. But the love? Some of it remained. Weeks passed. Then one Saturday morning, Dana woke up and realized she didn't feel heavy anymore. She sat in the garden with a journal. Opened a blank page. And wrote, I loved a man who became a woman. And I lost a husband but found the truth. I'm still grieving. But I'm also growing. And somehow that's enough. Months later, Dana was invited to a local women's retreat. Her therapist recommended it. You've lived through a powerful story, he said. Maybe it's time to share it. Dana hesitated. But she went. The group sat in a circle. Women of all ages. Some divorced. Some widowed. Some escaping violence. Some escaping silence. When it was her turn, Dana cleared her throat and began. I was married for 12 years. And then, one day, my husband disappeared. I thought he was dead. But he wasn't. He was finally alive. Just not as the man I married. As a woman named Jennifer. The group was silent. Dana smiled. And somehow, through the heartbreak, I became more alive too. Afterwards, a woman approached her. Eyes full of tears. My daughter's going through the same thing. I haven't known how to talk to her. Thank you. For showing me it's possible to love through change. Dana hugged her. She didn't need applause. Or pity. She just needed to feel seen. One evening, Dana stood in her kitchen cutting vegetables for a soup she hadn't made in years. The one Jennifer used to love. She wasn't sure why she was making it. Maybe for the ritual. Maybe for the peace. The doorbell rang. A package. Inside was a book. No note. Just a sticky tab on a page. Transformation isn't betrayal. It's becoming. Dana sat with that sentence for hours. Then she picked up her phone. Typed a message. I made the soup. Still tastes like home. Sent it. A reply came back. So do you. Dana smiled. And for the first time in a very long time, it didn't hurt. Sometimes the person we love becomes someone we no longer recognize. But through heartbreak, we discover what truly matters. Truth. Growth. And the courage to let go. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the most painful truths lead to the most powerful healing.